Hey, we're just Marl here, and after watching the episode of Food Wars: The Third Dish, episode 5, The Darkening Dinner Table, in my head right now, I'm just like, before I get into all that, I have to point out that this was the episode that I knew it was gonna have. It was gonna have like episodes 4, 5, maybe I think I just said 3 way before in the last few episode reviews, but I knew at some point during the close of the Moon Festival arc, he was going to make his appearance, and we finally got the appearance. If the title didn't even go by, the title was not an indication for any of you guys. His appearance alone, seeing the dark silhouette, and then finally seeing his face, the hair colors, everything, the hair and everything. Oh my god. Asami Nakiri finally made his debut. Let me get closer. Yes, he finally made it. Along like so far at this point in terms of appearances from Food Wars, aside from any other characters we also met from some of the Elite 10 and the Polar Territory, I felt his appearance to the series was like, hopefully in the anime, was like one of those interesting appearances I have been waiting for, sitting behind the rest of the Elite 10. I have been waiting for him to make his appearance in the anime ever since the fact that we were announced for a third season. After the second season was done, the whole thing with the autumn elections was done, and we finally got to see the rest of the Elite 10 during an OVA special. His appearance, Azami Nakiri's appearance was the one thing that I was waiting for in the end, mostly because of how the colors were going to be, and exactly what his voice actor was going to be. On the coloring, everything was all black. He came up, everything was all black. There's like one strand of white hair, like one strand of hair that's white, like right above here, somewhere around here, I believe. And one strand starts sticking out, and his eyes are not even like, there's like no shine to his eyes, it's just pure black. It's like he has like big black dots on his eyes. And his skin is close to his like ghoulish pale. Being like he's like a walking interpretation of a living zombie without any news of hungry for flesh or anything like that. And the voice actor, I do not know his name, but the guy did the voice perfectly to show off a character who's very deep and dark in the mental way. As far as like all the other voice actors, I've agreed with the fact that for Elite 10, from Kua's snobby, arrogant voice to Tsukasa. I'll get to Tsukasa in a minute, but not any other voices that are introduced. Asami Naki's voice actor delivered it on the demented side of things. And once we're later down the line, the more episodes come down with them, seeing how freaking messed up he is in the head, you'll see what I'm talking about here. Maybe you don't see it, but I see it. He did a perfect job voicing his character. I hope we're going to see more. We're going to see more of him later down the line. It's just I have been waiting for him to make his appearance in the anime, and we finally did in episode 5, which I may have called it. Actually, I think I did call it, but now he's here. He's making waves all over Tsukisi Academy, and things are going to go completely out of. Everything's going to be a complete mess. That was like towards like the second half of the episode, but I want to deal with the first half right now, where basically the closing moments of the Moon Festival. Soma may have claimed the first place spot on the 4th day, being Kuga Senpai, but he wanted to beat Kuga in total sales. Ultimately, he didn't. He got second place, while Kuga came first place because Soma was hoping to the fact that at some point during the first 3 days, he catches up. 4th day, he spikes. 5th day, totally wins. But instead, that didn't happen. Soma started so low. Kuga just kept rising and rising and rising until the 4th day hit. Soma just spiked into the 4th day, but did not claim the first place spot in the 5th day. So that was the end of the Moon Festival arc, which, by the way, was a good introduction. 5 episodes for the Moon Festival was pretty much because trying to cram what's going to happen in the next few episodes. I don't know how many episodes it was ordered. Maybe 25 episodes, because it wasn't for myself in the opening. Things are going to get, you got to explain a lot. You need a lot more episodes in order to cram down what's going on for the next few manga chapters that happen afterwards, after Azami's appearance. I'll also get to how he managed to become what makes him such a huge thread. But after the Moon Festival arc was done, Rino Senpai kind of came in, after going through her normal routine of going to every 120 booths around to because it was Soma and Megumin. asked him after after the results were in. Also, before I even move forward, I just want to point out the fact that the time when Kuga Senpai and Reno Senpai were talking to each other, it actually kind of like more plain like these two characters were basically like younger brother to an older sister, with the little brother being annoyed by the overcaring or the overbearing older sister. This is what making me sad. They sound like talk like siblings, which I can perfectly see. Then again, I can see that also mostly with every other first years who became the top 8 out of the album elections while not getting an Alice are actually cousins and they bicker like their sisters. But now, not actually scratching my like that, but now, moving forward, then you go to Sugat, Aishu Senpai's booth. Apparently, they all set like those 3 tables, each of them was set. And Aishu Senpai is the only one who's actually cooking. And the way how Megami described it is that's like watching the person on stage, like he's putting himself, he himself is cooking the food as he's chopping out like some sort of green vegetable. I don't know I think it was celery or something like that. He chopped it up. And it's like watching like a perfect session. Like think of like if you're in a show, not say like a violinist or saying like an orchestra. You're seeing the maestro mostly. You can actually, I think I see Sugata Senpai, Aishu Senpai, being that said maestro because he's like the way he cuts the food as he's preparing his food. It's actually you're watching like you're entranced by a show. And by the time when this video is going up, I'm missing 2 minutes of the flash because by the time this episode ended, while I was done watching the episode, 5 minutes were close to the flash, and WWE SmackDown Live was coming up soon. But there's a lot to talk about here. It's going to go way beyond that. But as one point, in fact, the time after, I also want to point out what was happening from Masami's appearance to what Aishu Senpai's cooking is. And when Soma, Megami, and Reno Senpai finally took a bite of the cooking, instead of just a traditional, explosion of their clothes ripping off for the first bite, like it was kind of like mostly the norm for a food gasm and Food Wars, it took a bit more of a slow build up to it. With the music building up like an orchestra, sounds like, oh, I'm not a singer, so I can't really, I'm so sorry for doing that. It sounded like kind of like an orchestra or a choir going off in the background. And then suddenly, and you see this little the scene with the plate of the dish, put the shrimp in the middle, and the next thing you know, you see the shrimp just burst splashes off the table, like basically right here. Here's the plate, the shrimp, and it goes right off. But basically, and that burst finally gets up the flavor. And then you see the clothes coming ripping off. So that's basically what Aishu Senpai's dish is. He basically puts himself on the plate, and Reno Senpai was nicknamed, he described him as the knight who kneels before his ingredients, devoted him their pride, calling him the white knight of the table. Complete with a sword, and armor and everything. There's a translation to that, but I think the translation is Russian or German. I'm not exactly too sure what the translation was in the subtitles. I don't know exactly what it's saying because I cannot speak that language. Whether it was German, Russian, or French, I am not exactly too sure what language that was. But translation in English for all of us internationally who don't speak the language was translated to the white knight of the table. And when she read that in the magazine, she just rolled the floor laughing because how cool it was, also how freaking cheesy that was. And Soma claims about Soup that Aishu Senpai is a completely different league. He's far from his league, but he is fired up because he wants to beat him. For the Modern Ringers, though, we know exactly what happened when they actually do face off. But I'm not going to spoil that for anime only watchers here. But that was from Aishu Senpai's cooking for the first time they see. That we get to see what cooking was tastes like the first time. Scene goes from Soma and Megami how the current first seed of League 10 cooks. But on to the last part of the episode, after Asumi makes his appearance, I want to point out the fact that when she notices who knows the person was, 2 things. One, when she first sees Asumi, she completely is frozen and can't even barely move, let alone even speak when he's in the same room with her. Given to just from that, just from her expression, a really bad past experience between these two happened. More will get fleshed out possibly later on in the episode, later on in the season. But for this other person, she's like actually terrified of her father. Like she's shivering, she's cold, and my screen just went black. She's shivering, like basically like a coldness went to the room. And when he does enter the room, 4 characters made their appearances too. If you remember from the second season of during the autumn elections, the 4 judges who being on both part A, groups A and B, respectively the twin sisters, one chubby fat guy and one guy who wears like a Chinese outfit. I forgot their names. They mentioned their names. They were just in for a second. I just completely forgot about them. Told the fact they made reference to the fact that Azumi Nakiri was the one exiled from Suzuki, but he came back to a place that he was not supposed to be here, which led to one scene where it's like, now that there's one he asked for to be fed, one table was open, which was meant for Jojuro, at least for Nakiri. Erina wanted Jojuro to sit on that plate, on that table, but Azumi just sits down. And then someone comes in, someone doesn't fully interact with the guy, basically like full introductions, like I'm Nakiri's father, or anything like that. He just walks out. Which leads to the most, one if not the most, I have to say, my top 5 favorite moment in the entire series at this point. The entire series at this point is when Azumi takes over Suzuki. In a way, it was like he meets up with his father, the old man Nakiri. I just forgot his first name. Old man, I just want to keep calling him. Explaining to the fact that you have no right to use my Nakiri name. You're for exile from this place. It's my mistake for bringing you into the family and taking over Erina. But he asked me, like, no, is that how you're saying? My lineage and my education cannot be extinguished. You can erase me from Suzuki's academy, no matter however you can. We cannot erase my lineage. It says Azumi is the birth father of Erina. And then, possibly right in front of him, he gets out this piece of paper, says, claiming that under a certain meeting for the Elite 10, 6 out of 10 votes decided on this change. Rindo shows up in the middle of the scuffle. It says this: "Are you going to join them? Whose side are you going to meet on?" And so it's my question: what side are you meet on? And as when All Man Nakiri opens up the Summon's paper, opens up the paper, shocking in his face, it says this. I can't get this word for word, but it did say, by 6 out of 10 vote, the Elite Suzuki Elite 10 favored for a reform, and Nakiri Azumi will take over as the new headmaster. That's not word for word, mind you, but that's not the word for word. I completely forgot what it said. But I basically said that as 6 out of 10 vote, a majority vote of 6, Nakiri Azumi is now officially the new headmaster of the director of Suzuki Academy, taking out All Man Nakiri, and he's the new spot. And the 6 who voted for this were followed: Rindo Senpai, Eizan Senpai, Saito Senpai, Momo Senpai, Kunikuni Senpai, and Eishi Senpai. While the other 4, Kuga Senpai, Megashimi Senpai, and there was no Erina said no to that. I think for trying to, excuse me again, talking so much in my mouth, it's like, sir. For the 4 who did say no were Kuga Senpai, who were missing, Megashima Senpai, Ishiki Senpai, and Nakiri and Erina. They're the 4 who said no to the reform. So moving forward, we're going to finally get an introduction to basically become the most driving force of the rest of the entire, moving forward of Food Wars, and then both in the anime and the manga, the war between rival students versus what's going to be called Central. And that episode ends there with Azumi Nakiri shouting to the world, "I am the new director of Suzuki Academy," as his new leader. And with the car lights behind him and everything, like a grand stage, like an introduction to the villain. Hello to the villain. In anime introductions, you're nowhere close near to some of the villains like Dino Brando from JoJo's Adventures Part 3. But that moment there shows that this guy is a terrifying force to be dealt with. And his power is no joke. And that closes out the entire Moon Festival arc. And the next episode is the Imprisoned Queen. So we're going to take more like the fallout from the announcement that Asumi will take over as the new director of Shokugeki Academy, and how moving forward the student body will react to fighting the Elite 10. Majority of the Elite 10 favor this reform, while the other 4 were not. But that is not until next week. And Black Clover did release earlier in the day, but I had to go to work in the morning, so I couldn't actually do the review. I rewatched the episode again to recatch my thoughts, and the episode will be up tomorrow. But for now, this episode, it delivered everything. It delivered Ishi Senpai's style of cooking, what makes him the first scene. Asumi and Akine's and final official appearance. Finally, I have been waiting for his appearance in the anime. The colors were perfect. The voice actor was perfectly done. We'll see more of that later down the line. And leading to Asumi and Akane being the new director of Shokugeki Academy. We don't know most animators don't know exactly how this is going to move forward, but my God, things are going to get freaking crazy right now. So until next week, leave a like, subscribe, comment below, with a friend. All I'm going to get the score. It's over perfect. It was the perfect episode to end up the Moon Festival and introduce this new character. And moving forward, things are going to be completely different. And again, I will say, and my God, this has been a long time when it comes for me. I've been waiting for this character, not to make his appearance. This episode was delivered on both sides. It was amazing to see this. And I can't wait to see how Soma and the rest of them is going to deal with this next week. So until then, leave a like, subscribe, comment below, with a friend. I know I said this before, but I still have to get my point across. But still. Again, see you all next week. Laters.